Hey everyone, hope you gone through my last video about how to set up a auth in Bubble using a Supabase. In today's video, we are going to cover how to fetch the data from the Supabase and how to send data from to the Supabase database. So let's start. Before actually jumping into how the database works in with the Bubble, I just want to highlight one very important topic, like how the Supabase token works and what exactly this token are and everything. So if you remember yesterday, we have logged in, right, using an email password. When there is a successful login, Supabase return a one unique token for that user. Think about that as an identity of that user. So let's suppose that token name is user123. That store information related to who this user is, what is its ID, what its email, and all of the things that you stored in your authentication table. So Supabase store that information in a browser local storage so that it will be persistent, and even you close the browser, it will remain there. So whenever the next time user come, it will show as a user is logged in, rather user is logged out. So let me show you this graph. So let's suppose this is a user token that is stored in your browser, client browser basically. So whenever you make any request, any API request to fetch the data, to send the data to the database, Supabase database, or anything, that token will be sent to the Supabase along with other detail and everything every time, and that is automatically handled by the Supabase SDK that is wrapped under our plugin that we are using. So whenever that API request is sent to the Supabase server, Supabase identify which user it is and then send its response based on that. And we are going to detail in upcoming videos how we can leverage this token to maintain our system security and everything, right? So that's a bit about token thing. I thought, okay, this will be super important to everyone to know how token works in a Supabase environment, right? Okay, now get back to our app. So today, what we are going to cover is we are going to create job post and store that data into the Supabase, and then fetch the job data into our Bubble side of it. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, before we move forward, since we need to add the job, we need to create a tables in our Supabase. So we bring on our Supabase table. So first you need to go to the table editor. Here you need to create a table. You have a two way of creating any table. So either you can create it from here, simply click on new table and do it in a no code way. But if you feel like, oh, you need to do it by the SQL query, that also pretty much possible, right? So it's that simple. If you don't understand like a query and everything, ChatGPT is there, or you can use the Supabase assistant that you can. So for example, on this page, you can open it from here. You can ask it to write a query and it will give you the query, right? So I will show you both the way. Correct. So if we come back on our table design, so we have a add job. So we have a job title, company name, job type, and description, right? These are the four fields we have. So what we are going to keep it, we are keeping our schema as a simple as that, so that we more understand the topic and everything rather than going in a detail about job board actually, right? Hope you are following me till here. If you have any question, any doubt, do comment it down below so that I answer your queries and everything. Okay, so let's start. First, we are going to create a job table. So let's say it as a job. If say okay, store job information, right? One thing I will suggest you the naming. In the Bubble, we prefer like keeping it like a camel case or job space and then other name like job details. In the Supabase, although you can do it, but I will just suggest you keep it uh, lowercase and don't use a space. Use these underscore and keep it like that. If you want to keep it like a two-word naming of the any table, so I just keep it as a simple job. Okay, we ignore that. We disable that for now. Yeah, we will disable this RLS. We will talk about it later but that is super important topic that we are going to cover tomorrow. Okay, the first thing that we needed, like here, job title, right? So we same goes for the naming convention that I'm following for the table name, and same I'm following for the column names. Job title, keep it as a text. You can keep it as a varchar, but Supabase recommend me as a text. Okay, and the default value, you want to keep it as a null, not null, but I just want to keep it as a not null. So I will just say I uncheck this is unknown, is nullable. Okay, just to give you the brief idea about what all of these is nullable means your column can have a null value, empty value basically. Is unique is your job title will be unique across the rows. Define an array. So if you are familiar with the bubble, so there is a thing called as a list. This is pretty much same as that for column, right? Now we come say company name, choose as a text. Next one is job type. Okay, since we have a job type is a fixed option set, right? Like it will be a value will be the fix. So we have a couple of options. Either we keep it as a text that is open, but we also can have a enumerated type. So if you go in Supabase, go to the database, go to enumerated type. Enumerated type is exactly similar as a option set. Exactly similar as the option set. You can define a type. So say okay, job type, and yeah, here we will say what all of these are. I'm just copying it from here, not so I will just copy all of them one by one full time. These are the enumerated type, pretty much same as the option side. So if I define any column with that type, it can have only these value. Otherwise, all will be rejected. Other. So if I just say and type my job type, this is the type. And I can even define the default value. So let's suppose I'm just defining the default value as a full time, right? This is my full time thing. Next column is content. What is the job content, right? I just keep it pretty much slow. Let's suppose say text. And I just want to keep one more. Is job published or not? So say is published question mark. And I say a boolean value. Boolean is pretty much same as the yes in no value that we have in bubble, and keep it as a false. Okay. And if you want to, by default, the ID is my primary key, and that will be int. So int basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be there. It will automatically auto increment. If you want to change it as a UUID, that is a unique 16-digit character, unique character, you can just change it as a UUID. And let's keep it. And by default, if we say it comes at a get random value. And since this is the primary key, it will always remain as a unique also. So that is there. Is nullable? No, I don't want to keep it as a nullable. Yeah. If there is a foreign key, yes, we will. Okay, I'm just going to create one more column that will define who create that job, right? So that we can track. So I say created by. Here, I will choose UUID because I want to add the foreign key against the authentication table. And if you remember, if you go to our authentication table, this have a UI. This is the type of the UUID. So that's why I will have to keep the UUID. Now we'll set up the foreign key to the our authentication table. So this is pretty much same as what we do in Bubble. Instead of defining a data type as a like a text number and all of these static value, we will define the specific table data type. So they're pretty much same. So I just do. Yes, one more thing. Authentication table will always be in the auth schema, or your other table will be in the public schema. This is one important thing I need to taken care. Remember, not taken care. Idea. Perfect. Click at save. So it will do it. And if there is any error, it will just tell us. I don't think there is any error. Let's wait. Perfect. This is how you do the no code way. But if you know the SQL, even you don't know. So if you can ask Supabase AI assistant to update AI setting. Okay. You can ask, okay, create the SQL query to create the table name job that will have column and define all of the column like created by job title, job company name, and say content. So if you do that, so if you see it automatically figure out that created by column should be the foreign key with my auth.user table. So that's the beauty of this AI assistant. Okay, so you just can copy it and run it here, or you can simply run it directly from here by the click on run query. Since we already have a table, we are not going to do that. Now time to add content inside the table. Addition form. Now we need to send data to our Supabase, right? How we do till now in Bubble is simply say create a new things, right? Same way we have to do the create a new things, but in Supabase. How? If you go into the plugin, this is the plugin that we have do. So if you see this is the Supabase database element is there that we have to use. So what we are going to do, same thing. We are going to say floating group just to store the plugin. Say Supabase database, right? This is what we need to do. And to make it better, say fd insert job so that we remember why this we have added. Now it asking you to data type. So what that data type is, this is the data type that is going to be returned from the Supabase, right? So when we insert any data, its entire column that is newly created will be returned as a JSON format. So we need a JSON format data for our table. So we will ask assistant create sample JSON for our table job. At any given point of time, you don't understand. No, oh, okay, not this, but the sample content. We already have. So it's basically okay, perfect. Now we got it. Oh, but if you see, this gives a data based on the ask we have done it here. It's thinking we have not created a job table. So that's the confusion it have. So what we will do simply go use it that as it is, say JSON formatter format. Okay. What we need is if you go here definition, so we have to fix the key name. Okay, ID we already have created, we don't really need it. Job title we need it, right? So okay, job title we already have. Next one is company name, job type. Job type will be anything. The value does not really matter. We just Bubble just need a schema, what kind of content will be coming from there. Created by we already have. This is the schema for our thing. So we'll copy that schema. Now we need to come back into Bubble app. Now we need to install our air connector. So that is air, sorry, API connector, not air connector. API connector. So we just don't need it. This is wrong. Okay. So now we need our API connector. So this is the issue with the bubble. We can't fetch any random data from the internet, right? We have to first define a schema. And that's why in your traditional bubble thing, we do the initialization first and then we will call that API. So that's why that's about one of the bubble limitation. So we will create that say Supabase object and the name of that is job. So wherever we are working with the job data, we are going to use it. We don't need to define anything here. Just say there. ID is our number. Make sure you have a correct data type for each thing. Otherwise, it will be pretty complex. Yeah, everything is correct. Say save, right? Now we have to define it as a job, right? Table name that we need to is the job. This is the table name coming from this here, public.job. So we have a job table, correct? So by default, what it does is it fetches the data. So, but we don't really need it for now. But since we need it only for the insertion, so what we do is when you use a save, so then we are saying ins yeah, insert a Supabase database. So that will basically insert the data, right? And the payload. Either you can send a payload to the key value pair that you need to send to the Supabase database, or you can simply define the JSON that you want to send. I will simply keep it as a JSON because the same JSON will be used. I always prefer a JSON because here you can also send the nested data. So ID we don't need, it is automatically defined by the Supabase. Here the important thing is created by, who created it. So here we need to send the logged in user ID. How we are going to fetch that logged in ID? If you remember in our first video, we have defined this is called authentication. We require it every time. Say Supabase auth, simple. Define your identity, say MFA. So we will come back here and say, make sure you are sending a valid JSON, say auth, Supabase auth, user ID. Now we need a job title. So job title will be coming from the input box. So we'll say input job title value, format as a JSON string. Since we use a format as a JSON string, we don't need to add the double quotes that we have. So that is also one important thing. And always, whenever there's a user input data and you want to send as a JSON, you always make sure it is as a format as a JSON safe. Otherwise, there will always be some issue or other issue. Now we need a company name. Now the job type. Since job type value is pretty much fixed, we say job type value. And this is the content. Again, we have to remove this. Okay, we keep it as a is published as a by default false so that it won't publish immediately. And we will do it from the backend. Okay, perfect. Now, and we have to set up one more parameter, basically two action more. If we get any error while inserting, we will get an error. If we are successful, then we will show a successful token. So here we'll say with the database, search for the data. That is the one thing I miss. It should always have a search so that actually I can search it. So, okay, inserted. If it is inserted, then successfully, then it will say added job successfully. But if it is not, then it should show the error. So then we have to show the error. Not this. This is wrong. Insert job error. And we will say this supervisor. If status message, that is a perfect. Say error. Perfect. So if you have any issue, any doubt till now, do ping it, do comment it out. I will happy to answer it, because that's how we are going to learn it. If you are not asking the question, you are not going to learn it. Perfect. Now all set. As soon as we click on save button, it should fetch the data from our input and send it to the Supabase. I hope everything is should be the correct. Okay, so here. Okay, we are going on internet and finding one job description. Say job board. Let's take this one. I think that will be much easy, right? Okay, this is the job title. I'm just adding a data. Company name is Ford Education, Ford Foundation, not education. Say full time, and the details would be will got from here. I'm just copy pasting some detail. Perfect. So I just copy. Now if I just say save, now okay, job title of the relation violate the not null job title. Okay, we are getting some error. So if you come here, error while inserting data, null value is in column job title of the not null. Okay, so if we go our job title, I think we are not sending the correct data. So this is the JSON that we are sending, right? So we have to just check what can be the wrong. Come here and paste it there, and same issue happen a lot of times, so you don't need to worry. Oh, if you look like our job content miss a double quotes. So if you see here, oh, that is the issue. So that's why I say always use this. Now it will work. So this is how you also debug the stuff and everything. And that's how you debug it. Company Ford, and how will you contribute? Okay. Save it. Now perfect. We job data is added perfectly. And if you go to the Supabase side of it, make it as a data. If you see like data is there in our table, you can expand that and see all of the data is there, correct? So that's how you insert it. Now how we will going to fetch the data. So pretty much same. Now go to the dashboard page. Here job list. Okay, so if you see here is I have this repeating group that basically gonna show the details, right? So again, same way we were going to do is floating group, because we need to store a place to plugin X plugin element. So we'll say plugin. Correct. So now we are going to use database. The same way we will say self fetch job. Correct. Here we will use the same data type jobs. Data schema public, table name is job, and here column. If you want to fetch any specific column, you just put all the column, but I want to fetch all the column. That's why this star thing and everything, right? I'm just keeping it as simple. And also we need to enable this fetch on page load. Yes, as soon as page load, we want to fetch the data, right? So what we are going to do is, now instead of this, just remove that. Say, say fetch jobs fd objects. Always remember, since this is array will be coming from the backend, so we need to use objects. If any single data will be coming, then we are using object. Simple. Same thing we have to do all of this current cell, and then we have to do no image as such. Here we are going to say the job title, parent job title, right? Here we are going to say company name, correct? Now here we are going to show job title, job type. Content we are not going to show, right? So that's the only thing we have to maintain to fetch the content. So now if I just refresh the page, all my jobs will be fetched from the, so if you see, I have one job and it automatically fetch. So we can fetch, we can add one more. Let me just do it. Let's do this one. Oh, that's the wrong copy. Company name is, okay. In this row, I just copied this one. Say 10A labs. Now I simply say add. I need to refresh the page. And if you see, I have get the data also. So that's how you will fetch the data, insert the data. And for edit and delete, this is exactly same as the insert operation. So that's the homework for you. Do it and let me know if you face any challenge or something like that. Tomorrow video, we are going to see how to secure it. So if you see right now, anyone can add the job, right? But that's not the way you want. In a typical job board, only the admin should have a permission to add the jobs. Everyone can see the jobs. And even for the see the jobs, we have a limitation how many jobs can a paid user can see and other stuff and everything, right? So that's how it is. So that's it for this video. If you have any question, any doubt, do comment it out in the video section. If you want to build any custom software or anything, just mail me at nocodetalks@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. Bye.